Yes, good afternoon. Welcome again. So, in the previous video, we discovered that following the lineage of Jesus, the story shifted to Joseph, actually. Now, Joseph was supposed to take them into Egypt. The reason is because God had already told Abraham before now that his descendants will sojourn or be slaves for 400 years in the foreign land. So, Joseph was supposed to be the one to usher them into Egypt. So the story shifted from Judah to Joseph. You get that? So Joseph, we then started showing about how he started having his dreams, how his brother sold him, how he entered Potiphar's house, and from Potiphar's house, he entered prison, and from prison he came out and became a prime minister. And then after some years, we could see now that what happened, he ushered his people into Egypt, which was part of God's plan and prophecy given to Abraham. Right, and then after he died, slavery began. So they began to be slaves. Okay, now we're still going, tilting towards the same direction. He died, and then at the completion of 400 years, with a 30 years on it, God had to raise someone to now bring them out of Egypt in the person of Moses. Now, Moses is not part of the ancestry of Jesus. Remember that there was a suspension because they had to go to Egypt to fulfill what God told Abraham. And then when they journey out, the story continues. So we now saw Moses came into the picture, and the story shifted from Joseph, shifted from Israel, and then started hearing about the story of Moses. And then from Moses, we saw how he journeyed with the children of Israel out of Egypt and to the borders of the promised land. And after Moses dropped, the next person took over, which happens to be Joshua. All right, so Joshua came in, took the children of Israel from the border of Egypt across the Jordan into the promise. Then after Joshua died, Joshua exited the scene. It came to a point that they were no longer leaders, but they had to use judges. And all those judges showed all different ways in which men fell and returned back to God. There were actually 7 of those kind of unique falls that Israel sinned against God and went back. You raise a judge to deliver them. After a while, a generation will rise again that will sin against God, will do the same thing. You will raise up another judge to deliver them, like that, and until we saw the story of Samson, the story of Gideon. Now all those judges are not part of the Messianic lineage. There was a full stop where we stopped at Judah. After that, now it came to a time where they needed a king, and they asked that Samuel, who happened to be the prophet. So the story shifted from the Joshua to the judges and then entered into Prophet Samuel. Now we're getting back to the Messianic lineage. So after Samuel did his part, introduced Saul, and then Saul introduced David. David happened to be a descendant of Judah, so we continue from there. Okay, so now they picked David's father, who happened to be Jesse. Jesse had about 7 children, including David, making it 8 males, aside from 1 female, which is Zeruiah. Remember, anytime you read the Bible, you hear Job, the son of Zeruiah. Zeruiah was not a man. Zeruiah was the sister of David. So Joab was actually a niece to David. David was his uncle. Okay, so the story introduced us back to David, which happened to be the direct lineage of Jesus Christ. So all the other 7 children of Jesse, we do not hear anything about them again. We now started hearing about David and all the exploits of David and everything he did, and continuously the story. Now David had about 5 children from different persons, and then but the story now tilted from all his children. We had a little bit of Amnon, we had a little bit of Absalom, we had a little bit of Adonijah, yeah, and then some of his children, we had a little bit of them, and then the whole story tilted and shifted towards Solomon. So take note of these characters. They contribute immensely to the message that the Bible is trying to show to us. It's pointing us to the cross, pointing us to the story of redemption, pointing us to Jesus. So the story shifted to Solomon. And then now right in between David. David gave birth to two children, Nathan and Solomon, but we didn't hear much about Nathan. But Nathan happens to be the ancestry of Mary, who is the mother of Jesus. But it focused on the father part, right? So Solomon, from Solomon, gave birth to Rehoboth, and during the time of Rehoboth, there was a little crisis. There was a riot. There was a protest that led to the division of the tribes into two. So I'm going to stop here. In our subsequent videos, we're going to continue through that journey up unto Malachi and see how it pointed us right to the cross. See you later. Thank you.